ਭਾਰਤ ਦਾ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ। ਭਾਰਤ ਹੁਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਵੇਗਾ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਗਰਿਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ। ਭਾਰਤੀ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮੰਤਰਾਲੇ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਬਿਆਨ ਆਇਆ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ। ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਵਾਦ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮੰਤਰਾਲੇ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਬਿਆਨ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮੰਤਰਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਭਾਰਤ ਨੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੀਆਂ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਸਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਹਨ। ਇਸ ਸਾਰੇ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿਵਾਦ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮੰਤਰਾਲੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ, ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਭਾਰਤ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੇ ਅਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਨਿੱਜਰ ਕੇਸ ਬਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਭਾਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ। ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮੰਤਰਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨਾਲ ਲੱਗੀ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਰੋਕ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਜਾਰੀ ਰਹੇਗੀ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਭਾਰਤ ਨੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਬੈਸੀ 'ਚ ਸਟਾਫ ਘਟਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਭਾਰਤ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਇਤਰਾਜ਼ ਜਤਾਇਆ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦਹਿਸ਼ਤਗਰਦੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਨਾਹ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਬੰਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ। ਹੋਰ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਕਿਹਾ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮੰਤਰਾਲੇ ਨੇ, ਸੁਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ।
20, but it's good to see all of you here, large numbers. I don't have any specific announcements, so may I take the floors? Why don't I start with you, Rishabh?
Sir, this is Rishabh from Times Now, and I have a very straight question. Are there plans to reduce the number of Canadian diplomats deployed here in India?
Why don't I start with you? I'll come to you in a second.
Arindam, Mr. Panon seems to have...
If you don't recognize my...
Okay, this is Vinita Pandey from the Asian Age Deccan Chronicle. Mr. Panon seems to have deviated from his own agenda and now come down to Sikh versus Hindus in Canada, and he has threatened the Hindu community to leave to leave Canada. And he's also threatened to carry out a referendum against the Indian High Commissioner on 28th of October. Has the Indian government sought protection for the Hindus and the Indian High Commissioner or Indian diplomats in Canada?
Okay. Sit down. I'll come. I have a funny feeling a lot of questions on a particular topic.
Sir, Siddhant from WION, continuing with the question on Canada. The Canadian Prime Minister used words like potential link, and we saw the Foreign Minister also using words like maybe, if proven. We also saw comments of the US Ambassador yesterday saying that the investigation can be prejudiced. How do you, or what do you make out of these comments which are coming out?
Okay, thank you. Pranay, I'll come to you.
सर, प्रणय उपाध्याय सी न्यूज़ से कनाडा के साथ हमारी स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप है, लेकिन स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप में जिस समय की ऐसी स्थिति है तो क्या वो भी रिव्यू में? और दूसरी चीज़ एक क्लैरिफिकेशन चाहिए था कि BLS जो कि वीज़ा प्रोसेसिंग एजेंसी है, उसने नोटिफिकेशन लगाया है कि वीज़ा प्रोसेसिंग सस्पेंडेड है इस समय, तो क्या उसका स्टेटस है? क्या कनाडा से इंडियन वीज़ा इस समय सस्पेंड है?
Yeah, no, sorry, you had a hand up before me. Go ahead, Manish. Yeah.
So again on the, this is Manas from PTI Press Trust of India. Again on the Canada issue, Canada has given very clear indications that it has, briefed the US, Australia and its strategic allies on the overall controversy and the accusation that Indian agents were involved in killing of a Sikh separatist in Canada. So have we also actually in fact got in touch with our allies like US and UK and other Western partners on the whole issue?
Normally I usually take 4 or 5 questions, but I think there are a lot of hands on this. Similar questions on that. No, I saw your hand first, ma'am. Go ahead. I'll come to you. I'll try to take a few more. I think it's similar questions. You can answer together.
Hi, I'm Megha Sharma from NewsX, and the Pakistani Foreign Ministry has also responded on it. It's taken the name of Kulbhushan Jadhav and said that there has been espionage and sabotage that has taken place on the soil of Pakistan by the government of India. How do you react to this? How does the Minister of External Affairs...
Can we limit ourselves to Canada for the moment? Because I think there's a lot of Canada questions. Is that related to Canada? If not, I'll come back to you.
This is Pakistan, and Pakistan has responded to what the
Canadian thing. But Kulbhushan Jadhav you mentioned. Okay.
Kulbhushan Jadhav,
if it's on Canada, I'll come back.
Been...
I will take the question on Canada. Okay. Right. Yeah, Canada. I'll come to you. All of you. I saw your hand a little later. I apologize.
Sir, मैं मनीष हूँ TV9 से और हमारा सवाल ये है कि
Microphone. नहीं, माइक्रोफोन नहीं चल रहा।
हेलो,
हाँ
जी मैं मनीष हूँ TV9 से और मेरा सवाल ये है कि लाखों भारतीय कनाडा में रह रहे हैं, उनके परिवार की चिंता है इस वक्त, खास करके जब रोज़ाना हम एक्शन और रिएक्शन कर रहे हैं दोनों देशों की तरफ से, तो ये भी है कि कल के दिन में बहुत सारे लोग जो वीज़ा अप्लाई कर रहे हैं उनका क्या
नहीं, आपका क्वेश्चन क्लियर नहीं है। आप क्या वो डर रहे हैं इंडियन गवर्नमेंट के एक्शन से?
नहीं, उनका डर ये है कि वो कनाडा में जो लोग हैं वहाँ पर उनकी सिक्योरिटी को लेकर
Okay.
या उनके जॉब को लेकर या उनके स्टडी को लेकर जो कंसर्न है
ठीक है।
उसको किस तरह से भारत सरकार
समझ
address करेगी?
गया जी या गो अहेड
So I'm Sahil from ANI. Since there are multiple threats to our High Commission and consulates in Canada, is Government of India planning to send its own security as well in that case?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. So I gave you the floor that time, but you weren't ready.
Sir, Shrudinandan from Bloomberg. Sir, can you confirm whether Canada shared any evidence, with us on this particular, before making this allegation in the Parliament? And also whether India, or how many times India has shared its concerns and evidence on nuclear with Canada, and what was their response to it? And an associated question.
What is the second part?
I mean, did India share evidence on Niger and the other suspected Khalistani,
The second question, okay. Can we hold on? We'll come back to more. Okay. Can we wait another one? I've got a whole list, but
And are we going to join the investigation?
what's it? I'll come back to you. Why don't I take yours? Yes, go ahead. Yeah, you. Yeah.
Hi sir, Rajesh here from the Wall Street Journal. Wanted to ask a question. Just a second.
Not ready?
Beyond issuing robust denials, what is India's strategy on countering the allegation which carries a risk of reputational harm to India's global standing?
Okay. Fair enough. If it's just on this, otherwise I still see many hands. Maybe one more round? Yeah.
Sir, Meghna from DD News. Is ME considering any specific advisory for the Hindu Canadians? Because we have seen an advisory for Indian nationals and students, but anything specific in view of the threats that have emerged?
Okay. Maybe I will hold off. I think I just see too many hands around. Okay. Let me start with some of the... Rishabh, your query was on diplomats, Canadian diplomats here. Yes, we have informed the Canadian government that there should be parity in strength and rank equivalence in our diplomatic presence, in mutual diplomatic presence. Their numbers here are very much higher than ours in Canada. The details of this are being worked out, but I assume there will be a reduction from the Canadian side. There was a query, I think you mentioned, let me take it in a different order. Siddhant, you had a comment on words used by Canadian Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, and then the US Ambassador, right? Yes, I do think there is a degree of prejudice here, They have made the allegations, they have taken action on them. To us, it seems or it appears that these allegations by the Government of Canada are primarily politically driven. Manish, your query was on briefing our partners, etc. Look, on this one, as I said, we have been, of course, engaged with our partners on various issues, particularly including this one. We have been discussing with them. We have conveyed our position, how we see these developments, and I think those are part of ongoing conversations, but I'm happy to share a little more if you wish to talk about it. I will. I'll come back to that. I just thought I'll mention Manish's I'll come back to Manish because let me just make a couple of other points. I think, Sudhi, you had a query about Canada sharing any information. No, let me clarify. No specific information has been shared by Canada on this case, either then or before or after. We have, as we have said, or I think we've been made very clear, we are willing to look at any specific information. We have conveyed this to the Canadian side, made it clear to them that we are willing to look at any specific information that is provided to us. But so far, we have not received any such specific information. There was a indirect question on that. Let me also point out that from our side, very specific evidence about criminal activities by individuals based on Canadian soil has been shared with the Canadian authorities on a regular basis, but not been acted upon. So that is answer to both sides of it, I think you asked. There was a query on, I'll come back. There was a query regarding from, I think, मनीष झा, आपका प्रश्न था सिक्योरिटी पे. देखिए सिक्योरिटी के मामले पे आपने पूछा था हमारे हाँ देखिए हमने इसलिए एडवाइजरी इशू की है और डिटेल एडवाइजरी है उनको क्या करना चाहिए. एक प्रश्न और था कि कुछ ग्रुप्स या हिंदूज अलग से नहीं. एडवाइजरी सारे इंडियन नेशनल्स के लिए, हम इस तरह से नहीं देखते. इंडियन नेशनल्स के लिए है, स्टूडेंट्स के लिए है, जो ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, जो वहाँ रह रहे हैं, उनकी सबके लिए एडवाइजरी है. एंड हम चाहेंगे कि वो उस एडवाइजरी को देखें और पालन करें उसका. Sahil, your query was on whether we are sending security. No, look, we have always believed that it is the host government's responsibility to provide security. If there is some places we have our own security posture also, but look, I don't want to discuss security measures in public. That's not an appropriate situation. If I could come back to what Manas, you asked about, as I said, we have ongoing conversations with friends and partners. We have made our position quite clear to them on the lines that I have outlined just now. That's why I thought I'll outline our position first, that there has been no specific information, and we're willing to look at that if provided. On the issue of a threat, Vinita, you mentioned for various things. Look, I don't know how to react to this. We obviously condemn any threat. But look, the overall, I think we should look at the larger issue. The larger issue is of terrorism. And not just terrorism, but also the fact that it is being funded and supported, and we know this for some time from our western neighbor Pakistan. But the issue of safe havens and places to operate is being provided abroad, including in Canada, and that we would expect that is the main focus. The question is, do we have the political will to address terrorism, or we want to justify it and condone it? So I think that's what we would like to say. Yeah, no, as I said, one question at a time. On the issue of measures for our security, as I think the same question was asked, I don't want to discuss publicly, but of course we take, it is under the Vienna Convention, we expect host governments to provide security and for our premises, for our diplomatic personnel. What exact specific measures, I don't want to discuss publicly. प्रणय, आपका प्रश्न था वीज़ा पे. मैं जैसे भी बताया कि हमने वीज़ा इश्यूज़ पे, लेट मी एक्चुअली नहीं बताया था मैंने, आई थॉट हमने डिस्कस किया था. आपने देखा होगा कि जहाँ हमारे जो कनाडा में हाई कमिश्नर और कॉन्सुलेट्स हैं, उनको किस तरह के सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट्स वो फेस कर रहे हैं, उसको आप जानते हैं. इससे उनका जो सामान्य कामकाज होता है उसमें बाधा पड़ी है, उससे डिसरप्शन आई है. इसीलिए हमारी हाई कमीशन और कॉन्सुलेट्स अब टेम्पररीली वीज़ा एप्लीकेशंस नहीं प्रोवाइड कर पा रही हैं. हम इस सिचुएशन को रेगुलर बेसिस पे रिव्यू करते रहेंगे, इसकी समीक्षा होती रहेगी. पर अभी के लिए ये सिक्योरिटी सिचुएशन जो कनाडा में और कैनेडियन गवर्नमेंट की इनएक्शन से रहा है, उसके लिए हम इसको अस्थायी रूप में हम इसको वीज़ा आवेदन का जो प्रोसेस है उसमें बाधा पड़ रही है, और इसीलिए हमने उसको अभी उसको स्टॉप कर रखा है. I know there'll be questions on this in English, so let me say that in English. You are aware of the security threats being faced by our High Commission and consulates in Canada. This has disrupted their normal functioning. Accordingly, our High Commission and consulates are temporarily unable to process visa applications. We will be reviewing the situation on a regular basis. That's what I wanted to respond to it on Pranay's question on visas. Megha, I think you asked on Pakistan comments. I don't even know how to quite respond to that. Pakistan, if there is the last country, I think, talking about credibility, and I don't think anybody really takes their comments seriously at all. I think that covers it. Sahil, I had talked about security. Rajesh, Yeah, look, if there is any country, if you're talking about reputational issues and reputational damage, if there's any country that needs to look at this, I think it is Canada and its growing reputation as a place, as a safe haven for terrorists, for extremists, and for organized crime. And I think that's a country that needs to worry about its international reputation. I think that covers it. Can I take the next rounds of it? I saw your hand a long time. Yes, I'll come to you. Yeah, please. We're staying on Canada, right? Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear. Yeah?
This is Karishma Mehrotra from the Washington Post.
Okay.
I wanted you to clarify the comment where you said that there should be parity in strength between the different diplomatic missions. Are you saying that the current reduction in the Canadian mission today was a result of an Indian request to downsize its presence in New Delhi, or was it an active measure taken by Canada to do so. Can you clarify that the parody statement you made?
Siddhant.
Hi, sir. I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. Sir, a former diplomat has made a comment on national TV a week back, saying that there was always a trouble for Indian Army officers to get visa, those who have served in specific locations in India like Jammu Kashmir, northeastern state, to get Canadian visa. Was Ministry aware about it, and have we ever raised this issue to the Canadians? And also, sir, my follow-up question: E.M. Jaishankar.
I haven't even answered. How
Yes,
can
sir.
you have a follow-up question?
Sir, E.M. Jaishankar is in New York, sir. We have been told.
No, sir. Honorable Minister is in Parliament.
Oh, yes, sir.
Follow-up question called off. Yes, I'll come to everybody. I assure you, there's time. Yes,
This is Yeshi.
Microphone, please.
This is Yeshi Seri from the New Indian Express. When Prem Trudeau was in Delhi for the G20, did he raise this issue of Nijhar whilst he was here with the Prime Minister? Did he make these allegations that he's raising in Parliament, or did this come as a surprise to all of us? During
Who's
the
us?
us meaning India, because he was here and he had a meeting with the PM Modi, and Khalistan issue was raised over there. Did this come up in the conversation at all?
Okay. Yeah, behind. It's just many hands. I'll come to all of you guys. Wait.
Sir, we also have a e-visa process. Parikshit from CNBC.
Thank you, Parikshit.
So we also have an e-visa process. Has that been suspended as well? And does this temporary suspension of visas apply to all categories? The Canadian Embassy, we are getting to know from associations, travel associations, that they're still issuing visas.
Who?
The Canadian Embassy. Do we have any clarity whether Canada has also taken reciprocal action and stopped?
Okay. You had, yes, ma'am? I'll come to you. Yeah. Go
I'm
ahead.
Amity from Business Line. The Canadian High Commission has said in a statement today that some of its diplomats have been facing threats on various social media platforms, and they have also cited the Vienna Convention and said that they would be expecting the host government to provide security. So will there be a reassessment of the security situation as far as the Canadian High Commission is concerned?
Okay. Let me finish that, sir. Kallol, I'll come to this side then.
Kallol Bhattacharjee from The Hindu. Sir, yesterday the Australian Foreign Minister reminded the issue of rule of law, and they believe that, say, a terrorist should be dealt through that process. So I really want to know what is the current Indian perspective on that.
On rule of law?
When it comes to dealing with terrorism, do you think that rule of law is something that India would follow when dealing with a terrorist or an alleged terrorist who is away from Indian shores and Indian arms of justice?
You want the answer to that?
How would you deal with the Australian Foreign Minister's remarks?
I wouldn't, but I'll give you a response to your query. Reza? I'll come to you, ma'am.
Reza from the Hindustan Times. Just wanted a quick clarification about the advisory we had issued yesterday. It had a very specific mention about politically condoned hate crimes. Are we saying that the Canadians haven't acted with alacrity on hate crimes of this nature?
Okay. Somebody else had a hand up? Yeah. I'll come this side. I think this. Oh, no. You had a hand up. Sorry. Apologies. You had a hand up. Yeah, go ahead. No. Yeah. Okay. You want to do first? Go ahead.
I'm Sunita from Times Now Bharat.
Is the microphone on?
Sunita from Times Now Bharat. सर जो कनाडा में इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स स्टक हैं उनके पेरेंट्स बहुत वरिड हैं यहाँ पे उनके लिए क्या?
Okay. I'll come back to this side. Yeah. Rishabh, I just give you anything, but you did a question. Follow up? Okay, go ahead.
So, follow up from my last question itself. Is there any particular reason for the reduction of numbers of diplomat?
Okay. Yeah.
सर मैं जो वैंकूवर में इंडियन कॉन्सुलेट
इंट्रोड्यूस कर लें हम जस्ट फॉर सिंपल
विजयलक्ष्मी हूँ इंडिया टीवी से सर जो मार्च 2023 में हमला हुआ था भारतीय कॉन्सुलेट पे सैन फ्रांसिस्को में उस पर क्योंकि एनआईए ने 10 एक्यूज की लिस्ट यहाँ पर जारी की है लोगों से जानकारी मांगी है अगस्त में हमारी एक टीम भी वहाँ गई थी उस पर कोई अपडेट किस तरह का वहाँ से हमें मिल रहा है
ओके या गो अहेड कृष्ण
Hi sir, it's Krishnan Kaushik from Reuters. So, building on Reza's question, India had issued an advisory which mentioned growing anti-India activities and politically condoned hate crimes. Can you provide any specifics if they were shared or if they are any that you can share with us?
Okay. बताइए आपका या माइक्रोफोन यू आर सरप्राइज्ड गो अहेड
सर मैं मुकेश कौशिक हूँ दैनिक भास्कर से। सर जैसा कि आपने कहा कि कनाडा में सेफ हेवन्स हैं टेररिस्ट के, तो पाकिस्तान में तो हम टैकल कर लेते थे सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक वगैरह से, इन सेफ हेवन्स को आप कैसे टैकल करेंगे? G20 की भागीदारी के बाद ट्रूडो की ये सब डिप्लोमेटिक स्पार सामने आया है।
एक क्वेश्चन ले ले।
ये दो
अच्छा क्या था?
क्या ये G20 की हिस्सेदारी में जो उनके साथ हुआ या उनको बताया गया कि वहाँ पर सेपरेटिस्ट एलिमेंट से आप नहीं निपट रहे हैं, क्या उसके रिएक्शन में ये सब हो रहा है?
क्या हो रहा है?
दोनों देशों के बीच में जो टेंशन
नहीं, ओके ठीक है। एक और नो यू आंसर अ क्वेश्चन, लेट हिम फर्स्ट।
Avinash from Session. Sir, just a clarification about the visa. You said that the issue of visa has been temporarily suspended in Canada. Huh? So, sir, just a clarification that the Canadian passport holders, they can continue applying for Indian visa in the third countries.
Okay. Somebody else had a hand up? Yeah, I'll come this side. There's a lot of questions. Hold on. You asked a question already. Hold on. Yeah,
sir,
missed you.
Amit Bhardwaj from India Today. There's a specific question. The gangster who was killed, Sukhdev Singh, we are being told that he was staying there since 2017. So we wanted a clarification whether he was on tourist visa, student visa, because it's been quite long that he was there in Canada.
Okay. Nanima?
Nanima from ABP Live. Just want to understand, did the Trudeau government give any kind of indication that they are planning to expel an Indian diplomat a day before? And also, just one more question, what about the students studying in Canada? Will there be any special provision for them? On visa issues or...
They're Indian citizens, no?
But, will
What
they
visas?
They'll be able to travel?
What's your specific question? Travel to where?
The visa issue.
I don't know what your question
Will
is.
there be any special provision?
For what? For Indian visa? For Indian nationals? Something's wrong.
No, even for Canadian businessmen.
I can...
okay.
I'll leave that. Let's
At least answer the first question. Thank you.
Okay. Neeraj. Second round's later, yeah. Neeraj, please. And, okay, I'll come to you and those who haven't got a first round. I know.
सर नीरज हूँ न्यूज 18 इंडिया से। जब कैनेडियन प्रधानमंत्री भारत आए थे G20 के दौरान, उन्हें भारत की तरफ से अपने देश लौटने के लिए विशेष विमान का ऑफर हुआ था, क्या कहकर उनकी तरफ से रिजेक्ट किया गया था?
पूछ रहे हैं, बता रहे हैं?
पूछ रहा हूँ सर
कि प्लेन दिया था कि नहीं।
और जिस होटल में वो ठहरे तो वहाँ प्रेसिडेंशियल स्वीट भी उन्हें ऑफर किया गया था भारत से।
अच्छा ठीक है, तो उसमें क्या मतलब क्वेश्चन क्या था?
उन्होंने दो कैनेडियन साइड ने क्या कहकर इनकार किया था?
अच्छा वो भी बता रहे हैं। ओके ठीक है मैडम प्लीज।
Sandhya from ET. So just want to know, get a sense on the trade relationship. The trade talks have halted, and if you can confirm and for how long. And just a follow up on what Yeshi asked. What was India's response on when Prime Minister Trudeau raised the issue of Niger, if that's correct?
Our PM's response?
Yeah, on the Khalistani.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Sridhar.
Sridhar from the Asian Age. So my question is that are we also looking at reducing the numbers of our diplomats there? I mean, you made it clear that the Canadian diplomatic strength here will be effectively reduced. But are we also, if we find that the security situation continues to deteriorate, are we looking at reducing, like what we did with Pakistan, we reduced it by half, the diplomatic strength. Are we thinking on those lines? And what happens to all the students who have been applying to join Canadian universities whose visas are under process, because there's every chance Canada may reciprocate?
It's a very different issue. Okay, I'll come to that. You're talking about Canadian visa, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the students.
Who else is
well.
left in the first round? You? Yeah, please go ahead.
Vineet Dixit from Newsgate. Sir, you have given an advisory for people living in Canada to
your microphone's not working.
Log on to mothers.gov.in. How many people there have got themselves registered before, as the advisory said, before the situation gets?
Okay. At the back. Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Right at the back. I'll come to you.
Hi, this is Devi Rupa from The Wire. I just want a clarity on the issue of Australia and US had both asked India to join the investigation. So I believe you earlier said that if Canada showed evidence that you will take a look at it. So you're not saying that you will join the investigation at this time, right?
Sorry. Yeah.
Neville from Sky News. I just wanted to know if the government is concerned that this might end up being a problem between the two communities in Canada, with threats being made to a certain community out there, especially
in Canada.
In Canada, between Hindus and Sikhs, where this said person has threatened a certain community, and also with regard to the Indians who have gone there to study and for tourism.
Anybody else has any other point that? No, that's hold on. You already asked one. आपने पूछ लिया था ना? हाँ, आपका? पूछा था आपने? नहीं. Please, first question, yes, I'll take. Okay, I'll let the first round go.
सर मैं संतोष ठाकुर हूँ नवभारत से. मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ सर कि ट्रिगर पॉइंट क्या है कि ऑल ऑफ सडन इतना बढ़ गया और इंडिया असेस नहीं कर पाया सिचुएशन को. थैंक यू.
किस सिचुएशन को नहीं असेस कर पाए?
कि कनाडा के साथ हमारा रिलेशन इतना खराब हो रहा है. ट्रिगर पॉइंट क्या था?
पता नहीं. Okay, you had a question? Yeah. No, behind you. Yeah, wait. Follow-ups a few seconds later.
सर आशीष फ्रॉम ABP न्यूज़. सर ये बहुत सारी रिपोर्ट्स आई है कि अमेरिकन साइड से भी कमेंट्स हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलियन और भी जो 5 आईज इंटेलिजेंस वाले हैं. क्या इंडियन गवर्नमेंट से किसी फॉरेन गवर्नमेंट ने कनाडा के अलावा इस इशू को लेकर रेस किया और हमारा रिस्पांस उन गवर्नमेंट्स को क्या था?
मैंने दूसरा पार्ट तो आंसर कर दिया था, बट एनीवे आई ट्राई टू आंसर अदर कंट्रीज. ओके, एक लास्ट कोई हैंड देखा था मैंने. या यू डिडंट आस्क, राइट? यस मैम. Don't have an afterthought. You don't have to ask a question. I think if you haven't asked in the first, now I think it's over. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sanya from CNN. Given all that's happened in the last 72 hours, how would you describe the current diplomatic ties between India and Canada?
You asked a question, right? You asked a question. No. Yeah, I missed you. Okay, sorry.
सर मैं नीरज दुबे. मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि सर प्रभा साक्षी से नीरज दुबे. मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि जो 5 आईज हैं उनसे पर्याप्त समर्थन नहीं मिला, इसको कैसे देखते हैं आप? क्या इससे झटका लगा ट्रूडो को? और दूसरा सर, अभी जैसे कि खासतौर पे जो इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको लेकर बहुत सारे सांसदों ने प्रधानमंत्री से भी चिंता जताई है, मंत्रियों से भी मिल रहे हैं. क्या हम कोई हेल्प डेस्क या हेल्पलाइन नंबर वहाँ पे देने जा रहे हैं?
Any other? Yeah, you haven't asked. Go ahead. Somebody had a follow-up.
So just one question. That Australian foreign minister, I think she has said that the Australian side has raised the question of the Canadian delegation with Indian counterparts, or probably with the Indian side. So has it happened after the statement by the Canadian Prime Minister in his parliament, or I mean, they have been in touch earlier also?
Okay. You hadn't asked a question. Go ahead.
Satyarya Maheshwari, Sputnik India. Canadian MP Chandra Arya, he has expressed concerns that Hindus in Canada, they have gotten in touch with him expressing, concerns about their safety. So has the Indian High Commission or Indian Consulate, have they received any such concerns from Indian citizens in the country?
Okay. Follow-up, yeah. Quick last couple of follow-ups. I think we'll move on.
Sir, sir, I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. Sir, this question has been flagged off by the Indian community in Canada, so that there is one other diplomat in the Indian High Commission in Canada who is being targeted by pro-Khalistani publications, newspapers, and his name is appearing in almost all newspapers. So the Indian community is raising concerns regarding his security, sir, because his name
is an Indian diplomat, right?
Indian diplomat, along with the one who got expelled. They are blaming him also for the activities. Allegations are being made.
Okay. Yeah. What is the follow-up? Yeah.
So you said that we have sent the list to Canada to take action against those who pro-Khalistan activists, and no response have been given. How many times have we sent the list?
Okay. And something? We need to close it really. Yeah.
सर एक छोटा सा क्लैरिफिकेशन है हरदीप सिंह निज्जर को लेकर, क्योंकि कनाडा के इमिग्रेशन मिनिस्टर ने क्लेम किया है, पहले कहा 2015 में वो कनाडा का सिटीजन बना, अब कहा है 2007 में. व्हाट रिकॉर्ड्स डू वी हैव एंड व्हाटएवर रिकॉर्ड्स वी हैव प्रोवाइडेड टू इंटरपोल फॉर हिज रेड कॉर्नर नोटिस?
Okay. Thank you. I think a large number of questions. Let me try to take them. Karishma, on your query regarding parity, I think you didn't get what I'm saying. We had informed, or we have informed the Canadian government that there should be parity of strength and rank equivalence in our diplomatic presence, our mutual diplomatic presence. We think that the numbers are much higher, and those details are being worked out, and we think hence the number there'll be reduction. So yes, I presume this is pursuant to our conversation or request. Siddhant, on the issue of Canadian visa, right? You asked that first term. Look, I don't want to get into visa requirements of foreign governments, but yes, we have seen reports and heard some things, and if there are cases where we believe that our people are not being given a fair treatment or there been discrimination, we do take these things up. But I would not like to comment on individual cases. But yes, discrimination in how visas are granted by the Canadian side is something of concern, and there have been cases in the past. But I would not like to go into individual responses. Yeshi, and I think there's somebody else also asked this. Look, we had issued a press release, I think on the 19th it was, I have a copy here, where we said, yes, these allegations were raised by Prime Minister Trudeau with Prime Minister, and Prime Minister rejected them. I think that's pretty clear about it, so let me reiterate that. I think the same response, I think somebody else raised, that yes, those were raised and they were rejected. Parikshit, e-visas, yes, e-visas also are on temporary suspension. They also, because they would at some point also involve our functioning of our High Commission, our diplomats there, all categories. You said which categories? I think Parikshit, sorry, I missed you somewhere in the back. Yeah, all categories of visas are suspended. Let me explain again. The issue is not about travel to India. The issue is, the question is not about travel to India. Those who have valid visas, those who have other kind of documents like OCIs are free to travel to India. But the issue is of incitement to violence, the inaction by the Canadian authorities, and a creation of an environment that disrupts the functioning of our High Commission and consulates. That's what's making us stop temporarily this issuance of visas or providing visa services. And as I said, we will be reviewing this situation on a regular basis. Amity, you raised the issue of the Canadian diplomats facing threats here. We take our obligations of Vienna Conventions very seriously. And if there are specific threats and things, I'm sure they are in touch with our security agencies, and we will certainly providing all security and all support to foreign diplomats in India. We would accordingly also expect that the Canadian authorities show similar sensitivity to posters threatening assassination and incitement to violence against our diplomats, attacks on our premises, or such kind of threats, and take their obligations under the Vienna Convention a little more seriously. Kalol, PhD question on how we look at rule of law. We certainly abide by rule of law. I think if there is a doubt on that, we have in a different conversation. We would, and this leads me to the question some of you asked, we have been sharing details of fugitives from justice who have run away, who are seeking safe havens in Canada and elsewhere, to come back to India and face justice, and justice, whether it's economic fugitives or as terrorists. I think that's the way rule of law works. I don't even know what else to tell you how to handle. Easier would be if the host governments, where they're seeking safe havens, take action against such terrorists. Reza, yes, the advisory was comprehensive. There was a term called politically condoned activities, hate crimes. You said alacrity, they didn't respond with alacrity. I would go further, say they did not take it at all. It seems there is a feeling that these are part of freedom of expression or whatever you call it, and such hate crimes are being condoned in the political environment and the political system. And certainly that is something of concern, and we have flagged it. सुनीता, आपका प्रश्न था इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स के बारे में. देखिए, इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स जो वहाँ पे हैं, हमने जैसे कहा एडवाइजरी हमने इशू किया है. हमारे हाई कमीशन, हमारे काउंसुलेट्स वहाँ चल रहे हैं, वो काम हो रही है उनमें. कोई दिक्कत हो उनसे कांटेक्ट करें, पर हमने एडवाइजरी में कहा है कि एहतियात बरतें, देखें क्या हो रहा है. ऐसे स्पेसिफिक कोई हमारे पास और एडिशनल इनपुट्स अभी नहीं है. ये प्रश्न किसी और ने भी पूछा था कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स जो है उनको वीज़ा, हमारे वीज़ा पॉलिसी से कोई उनको फ़र्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए, वो इंडियन सिटीजन्स हैं. और कनाडा क्या करेगी, ये कैनेडियन अथॉरिटी से आपको पूछना पड़ेगा. मैं उसके बारे में कुछ कह नहीं पाऊँ. Rishabh, your question was a follow-up to why this particular step is being taken on parity of strength and rank equivalence. Frankly, yes, the reason is that we have seen Canadian diplomatic interference in our internal affairs. This is a factor that is being taken into account for seeking parity in strength and rank equivalence. Somebody asked, I think, Krishnan, you asked about specifics of some action. Look, these are not things that are to be released publicly, so I'm not in a position to share the same. विजय लक्ष्मी जी, आपने कहा था आपने कहा था सैन फ्रांसिस्को कॉन्सुलेट में कोई अपडेट ऐसा नहीं है। आपने देखा होगा हमारे सिक्योरिटी एजेंसीज ने कोई लिस्ट निकाली है, उनका वो कोऑपरेशन चल रहा है यूएस के साथ, और हम चाहते हैं कि जो इसमें पीछे थे उनके ऊपर एक्शन लिया जाए। आई थिंक कोऑपरेशन चल रही है यूएस अथॉरिटीज़ के साथ, पर ये हमारे दायरे में नहीं आता है उतना। कोई अपडेट हो तो हमारी तरफ से हम बताएंगे आपको। मुकेश कौशिक, आपने पूछा था, आपने बड़ा ही टेढ़ा क्वेश्चन पूछा था। मैं किसी और केस के साथ कोई कंपैरिजन नहीं करना चाहता हूँ, लेट मी क्लैरिफाई। वहाँ सेफ हेवंस दे रहे हैं कनाडा में, वहाँ पे हम चाहेंगे कि उनके कैनेडियन सरकार सेफ हेवंस न दें, और जिनके अगेंस्ट ऐसे टेररिज्म के चार्जेस हैं उनके ऊपर एक्शन ले, और वहाँ आइदर उनके ऊपर वहाँ एक्शन ले या हमें यहाँ जस्टिस फेस करने के लिए यहाँ भेजे। मुझे पूछा गया था, आई थिंक somebody asked how many such cases were there. My understanding is over 20 individuals. I don't have exact number. That's for security agencies. We have sought either extradition requests or other kind of assistance related to that. So at least more than 20, maybe 25 individuals we have requested over, and not just recently. It's for many years we've been requesting, and the response has not been helpful at all. Avinash, your question was third countries, Canadian citizens applying. Yes, also will be applicable. Canadian citizens in third countries will also be subject to the same temporary visa suspensions, because at some point this comes through our High Commission, our consulates need to be involved in that process. So that's not going to happen. Amit, I think your question was Sugdul. I think, to be fair, this is not a question that's really in our it's more of a security thing. All I can say is, we have seen reports in this. Frankly, it seems that if you have so much organized crime, this violence has been there. There's a lot of violence when organized crime has such a large presence. That's all I would like to say on that. संतोष, आपका प्रश्न था ट्रिगर। पता नहीं आप क्या ट्रिगर कह रहे हैं, और आप किस पर्सपेक्टिव देख रहे हैं। हमारे पर्सपेक्टिव बहुत सिंपल है। हम कह रहे हैं कि वहाँ पे जो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट हैं, जो टेररिस्ट हैं, जो ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम पे इन्वॉल्व हैं, उनको हम चाहते हैं कि उस पर एक्शन लिया जाए। कैनेडियन गवर्नमेंट नहीं ले रही है, और इनका जो एलिगेशंस है उस पर मैंने जैसे कहा कि हमारे पास कोई स्पेसिफिक इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं शेयर किया है। तो उसके बाद हमने फिर एक्शन जो लेना पड़ा, सब इससे रिलेटेड है कि टेररिज्म पे एक्शन नहीं हो रहा है। अदर कंट्रीज, आशीष आपका प्रश्न था अदर कंट्रीज का। अभिषेक आपका प्रश्न, योर थिंग वाज ऑस्ट्रेलियन साइड हैज सेड, लुक, आई थिंक सम ऑफ दिस कंट्रीज हैव मेड पब्लिक that they took up the issue with us, and I think I also said that we are in conversations with many of our partners. I don't want to say which are the countries, because let them mention it. I don't want to get into which countries have been saying what, but as I said, we have ongoing conversations with our friends and partners. I have highlighted our position very clearly, and this is what we have shared with them. It's the same thing I'm telling you that we've been telling them. नीरज जी, आपका प्रश्न 5 Eyes के साथ था। पता नहीं आप क्या पूछना चाहते थे, बट वही हमने उनसे भी यही कहा है कि देखिए हमारा जो पोजीशन है कि इसमें टेररिज्म का मुद्दा है, इसमें सिक्योरिटी का मुद्दा है, वहाँ पे जो एक्शंस ले रहे हैं हमारे डिप्लोमेट्स के अगेंस्ट या किसी और के अगेंस्ट, उस किस तरह से रिस्पॉन्ड करें। Sania, your question was describe this again broadly, MPhil question, maybe not PhD. I think you would make a good assessment. I don't think we are here to assess a relationship. I think that's beyond the purview of a weekly presser. But clearly, we would expect better steps by the Canadian authorities on our very significant concerns about terrorism, about security of our diplomats, of Indian community, and overall anti-India activities that are being operated or given a safe haven in Canada. कुछ प्रश्न थे हिंदू और आई थिंक सिद्धांत, आई थिंक नो स्पुतनिक वाज अ क्वेश्चन आल्सो, देयर वाज टारगेटिंग ऑफ डिप्लोमैट्स, also I think Nanima, your question was there. Look, I think the issue is larger. As I mentioned, this is not about individual groups or this group, but I don't think that is how we are looking at it at all. I think Neville, your question was also that. I think we should look at it on a larger issue of there are elements linked to organized crime, linked to terrorists, secessionists or extremists who are operating freely. They are being politically condoned. They seem to have a free run, and we would expect that the Canadian government take action against that. As regards the Indian origin or Indian community or Indian diaspora, look, I think they've been speaking out very clearly. Our we have talked about the advisory for Indian nationals, and we would hope that they feel safe. They feel that they can operate there.
Communicate the expulsion of the Indian diplomat.
Sorry, the expulsion part, I'll come to that. On the issue of the expulsion, yes, obviously when our diplomat is asked to leave, they communicate to us. When exactly, I'll have to check. But as I said, we were of course made aware that he had been asked to leave. But I don't have the exact timing with me. Siddhant, there was something on, somebody asked about targeting of another. Look, again, I'm very hesitant to get into individual cases. This brings me to the larger issue of our violence being incited, not just against one diplomat, but you've seen High Commissioner, our Consul Generals are on posters, their faces. I think all of that worries us. It's not about just one individual or otherwise. I think we've covered anybody. Anybody missed? Sorry. Look, as I said, we are looking at parity. Your question was, are we looking at reduction of our personnel? Look, we're looking at parity in rank and diplomatic strength. We think the Canadian numbers will probably come down, but the discussions are going on. I have no information to share at this point of any change in our diplomatic posture. Of course, if the security situation changes, I would not like to, speculate on that. I think I will stop there. I think I've spoken on the students. I will take no further. Sorry, have I missed your question, Neeraj? Yes. Regarding the issue आपने जो पूछा, देखिए अब इंडिविजुअल फॉर प्रोटोकॉल रीजंस ये जो इश्यूज मैं बताना नहीं चाहता हूँ. कैनेडियन प्रधानमंत्री जी का प्लेन में कुछ दिक्कतें थी, वो जा नहीं पाए थोड़ी देर के लिए. हमारी तरफ से हमने जो भी सपोर्ट हम दे सकते हैं हमने ऑफर किया, पर वो फाइनली उनका प्लेन ठीक होगा और वो चले गए. और बाकी इश्यूज पे मैं टिप्पणी नहीं कर पाऊंगा. और how many people are registered? I don't have that number right now because there's a large number of Indian students, and this is a comment I would like to make overall. We would encourage students and Indian nationals abroad in all countries to register, but in Canada currently, because of the heightened security situation, we would certainly expect all of them to register. They must be doing so. I don't have an immediate update. I'll get back to you at some point. Okay, is there any non-Canada questions? Because I think you've shut the door on that one. Yeah, somebody raised a hand first. Who was that? Okay, no, you go ahead, Abhishek. All of you guys have asked a question. Abhishek, go ahead. Non-Canada. Not Canada. Yeah. Yes.
So my question is regarding Republic Day invitation for the chief guest. So has India invited US President for the Republic Day parade celebration as chief guest? And also, is India planning Quad summital talks around that time?
What's talks?
Quad summital talks around that time in the month of January.
Okay. What else? Anything else? Yeah.
So, in addition to that, there are some, Meghna Dev from BD News, there are some reports that the leaders of Quad countries have also been invited for the Republic Day.
Isn't that what your question was?
And in addition to that.
Okay. Any other hands? If not, I'll close this. Yeah, Sudhi? Yes, your microphone. No, Canada, no. I think we have closed Canada, unless something absolutely that I missed.
Just for
yeah, okay.
So, the Indian military is holding a conclave of the chiefs of the Indo-Pacific nations.
Yes.
Can we get a confirmation as to whether the Canadian chief is going to come or not?
Okay.
Because he was supposed to come. Is there
okay. Anybody else? Not Canada. Okay, go ahead.
This is Yeshi from the New Indian Express. I wanted to know if there's any update on that Indian child in German foster care. What is the latest on that front? Parents, I believe, had gone to Germany, but they couldn't get a glimpse of the child.
Okay. Okay, I see no further questions. I'll close with this. On the issue of the invitations, look, for the 26th January, as you all very well aware, and I don't do crystal ball gazing, these engagements are announced at the appropriate time. We will certainly share with you information once we are in a position to do so. I'm sorry to disappoint you. On the Canadian chief for this event, my request would be to reach out to the Canadian authorities and see if they're coming. I haven't heard anything particular, one way or the other. Yeshi, on the issue of the child in Germany, yes, I think I have a slight update since you asked. Following our consistent efforts, German authorities did grant consular access to the child on 31st of August. The interaction with the child included elements of cultural immersion with a view to enable the child to remain connected with Indian traditions and culture. Resource material relating to Indian festivals, customs and practices were handed over by